Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the NoDQ.com live recap of Friday Night Smackdown for January the 7th, 2022, the first Smackdown of the new year, the first live Smackdown in 3 weeks. We are back in business. We are on the road to the Royal Rumble pay-per-view coming up at the end of the month. Shout out to everybody watching this, whether it's live or on demand. I appreciate your viewership. And remember, say yes to no DQ. All right, let's get going with this recap. We kicked off SmackDown with footage from the day one pay-per-view and Raw showing what happened with Brock Lesnar. We then had Roman Reigns come to the ring, making his grand return after missing a grand total of one show. Roman Reigns back after testing positive for COVID. Pat McAfee said that COVID tested positive for Roman Reigns. Anyways, Reigns talked about how he missed 1 week and everything fell apart. He started getting what chants, and Reigns just kept going. He did not acknowledge the what chants. He said that there are two people he never wants to see again: Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. Sure enough, right on cue, we had Paul Heyman and Brock Lesnar show up, and they got in the ring. Heyman was about to do the intro for Brock Lesnar, but then Lesnar stopped Heyman and did the intro himself. Got right in Roman Reigns' face, and Lesnar told Reigns to acknowledge him. Lesnar said that he got what he wanted at day one. He got the title. Roman Reigns got what he wanted. He did not have to defend his title. But now, Lesnar suggested that they give the people what they want, and that is champion versus champion, title for title. Reigns responded by saying it's a good idea, but not his idea. And he does not do business with people that do business with trash, like Paul Heyman. Heyman was very upset about this, talking about how he loved Roman Reigns and did all these things for him. Lesnar started to get mad that Heyman was saying good things about Roman Reigns. And Heyman talked about how Reigns was all he had when Lesnar was gone. Lesnar was not amused. He told Heyman to shut up. And then Reigns took a cheap shot, Superman punch, laid out Brock Lesnar, and took his leave. The plot thickens. Paul Heyman kind of like the man in the middle here. What are you going to do with Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns? What kind of stipulation are they going to have at some point? Are they going to have a Paul Heyman on a pole match? Are they going to have a custody of Paul Heyman ladder match? Are they going to have Paul Heyman in a shark tank hanging over the ring? What are they going to do with these guys? That remains to be seen. Fun segment, though, to start off the show. Glad that Roman Reigns is back. Regardless of when he got COVID, he's back, which is a great thing. Glad he's okay. We were all worried about him. Happy that he's doing well. Jeff Meacham Network is here. Good old JM Jeff Meacham says, good to see everybody in the chat room. Always enjoyable to see the No DQ Galaxy. Hashtag say yes to No DQ. Thank you for that, Jeff. I very much appreciate it. I hope you're doing okay. And make sure you guys check out the Jeff Meacham Network for the latest videos from the West Coast professor, good old JM Jeff Meacham. Oofman has an idea. Maybe Paul Heyman costs Lesnar the title at the Royal Rumble. Brock Lesnar enters the Royal Rumble, wins, and challenges Reigns at WrestleMania. I could definitely see that as a possibility. And we'll talk more about what's going on with Roman Reigns at the Royal Rumble. There was a revelation at the end of the show. People are already talking about it in the chat room, but we will get to that at the very end. And shout out to Matt Helms. It is his birthday. Happy birthday to you. I'm not going to sing, but I wish you a very happy birthday. I hope you're having a great day. Now, we move on to our first match of the evening. We have Shinsuke Nakamura accompanying his man Rick Boogs for a match against Sami Zayn. But before that, we had Sami Zayn cutting a promo talking about how Boogs is a gorilla with a guitar, said Nakamura is ducking him, and then Sami Zayn ran into Johnny Knoxville from Jackass. Of course, Johnny Knoxville did a video over the weekend wanting to be part of the men's Royal Rumble match this year, and he said he's campaigning for it. Zayn said that Knoxville is not qualified to be in the match. Zayn left, went to the ring, and we had our match. Zayn attempted to stall. That did not work out for him. Rick Boogs just tossed him around, showed off his power, and he was dominating most of the match. Zayn tried to escape and briefly got some offense on Rick Boogs, threw Rick Boogs back into the ring, but then Zayn started arguing with Shinsuke Nakamura, who was at ringside. And then Zayn went back into the ring. Rick Boogs rolled him up and scored the 1-2-3 victory. So yes, the number one contender for the Intercontinental title, Sami Zayn, lost to Rick Boogs. Go figure. And afterwards, Zayn was angry. He was yelling at Nakamura, who was on the outside of the ring. And then Johnny Knoxville ran down, dumped Zayn over the top rope, and the ring announcer must have gotten a cue where Vince McMahon yelling in his earpiece. I'm not really sure what the hell the deal was here, but the ring announcer said Johnny Knoxville's qualified and he's going to be in the Royal Rumble. Now, if a fan jumped into the ring and dumped somebody over the top rope, would that qualify them? Just wondering. Oofman Entertainment sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. It says, while watching your review, also watching myself on Rampage. Not really. My seats were not near the camera. Well, you can see what happened on Rampage from the comfort of your own home versus how you saw it in person. It's always fun to go back and watch. After you've seen a show live, you go back, watch it on TV. It's always an interesting experience to see how it played out on TV versus how you saw it in the arena. But thank you for that, Oofman. I appreciate it. Johnny Knoxville in the Rumble. I really am just shaking my head at this. They're doing the cross promotion. He's got his movie coming up, whatever. But I feel like they're 20 years too late with this. Johnny Knoxville, Jackass, that was a thing like 20 years ago. Why are they doing this now? That's the question. I guess they got to promote that movie, whatever. But just doesn't feel like a big deal to me. I mean, I probably would not have cared about it 20 years ago, but I care even less now. And I remember Steve-O was on Raw that one time. If you guys remember, Steve-O did this segment with Umaga, and Umaga was beating him up, and Steve-O was basically laughing the whole time. And I think Umaga started stiffing the guy and just really trying to beat the shit out of him because he kept laughing. I mean, it was absolutely ridiculous. I'm guessing Knoxville will do a better job, and hopefully he does a job, and it's not a scenario where he eliminates somebody of any importance. I mean, he can eliminate R-Truth or Tozawa. That's fine. I don't have an issue with that. But if they have anything else, anything more significant, it's not going to be good. Have them come in there, do a comedy thing with the 24/7 guys, and let that be it. Yeah, Johnny's movie comes out the Friday after the Royal Rumble. Whoop-de-doo. We had the New Day and the Usos cutting promos. So the main event of this show was the Usos defending the tag team titles against the New Day. Yeah. Even though we already saw the match at day one, another match with these guys. Really? Only this time it was a street fight. But I love these guys. Their matches are great, but are there any other teams that could possibly be on the show and be in competitive matches? I mean, seriously now. Anyways, we had Charlotte, the SmackDown Women's Champion, come to the ring for a promo, and she talked about her New Year's resolution being more ambitious than what everybody else does. You know, the cliche, you're going to lose weight, you're going to make more money at your job, yada, yada, yada. And then she had a video to show everybody with participants being announced for the 2022 Women's Royal Rumble. And this was interesting. This made the Women's Royal Rumble match way more appealing in one segment than anything for the Men's Royal Rumble match so far. So several people that are actively on the main roster, Rhea Ripley, Nikki ASH, and so on. But then we had some past ladies announced for this match. We had the Bella Twins, which I guess that means Nikki Bella has been cleared to wrestle again. That's cool. Bella Twins, Hall of Famers. Maybe they can go for the tag team titles. I mean, at this point, you kind of need the Bella Twins because the tag team division for the women has just been absolute crap, and you gotta spice it up a little bit here. I'm actually welcoming the Bellas to be part of the tag division just so you can actually have like a third team competing for those titles if you're going to even bother keeping the titles around. And some other names from the past. Kelly was announced. Summer Rae was announced. Lita is going to be in the Women's Royal Rumble. And then the really interesting one, the current Impact Wrestling Knockouts champion, Mickie James. That's right, Mickie James. Now, she could lose the title. She's defending it at the Hard to Kill pay-per-view, which is Saturday night, but she was announced. And furthermore, Pat McAfee referred to her as the Impact Knockouts champion. The forbidden door, it is open. WWE working with Impact Wrestling. That is something I was not expecting. That was not on my 2022 bingo card. But it is happening. It is official. She will be in the Rumble match. Impact Wrestling sent out a press release. You can read that over at nodq.com. And I'm very intrigued. And I'm wondering, could this lead to more? Could we possibly see AEW and WWE work something out? Maybe not this year, but next year if this goes over well. Like, imagine if Chris Jericho showed up at the Royal Rumble with the Judas music, or even an AEW original like Orange Cassidy or Darby Allin. Like, that would be crazy. Never say never. This makes me a little optimistic. Now, Mickie will probably show up and she'll be in there 2 minutes and get tossed out, whatever. But I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued by this Women's Royal Rumble match. And I know some people are not happy about it being announced in advance. And I get that. And I still hope they save a few women for surprise entrance. But I do like announcing some in advance. Example of where it worked was the 2002 Royal Rumble match. They announced Mr. Perfect, The Godfather, Val Venus, Goldust. And that built up hype for the Royal Rumble, announcing those legends for the Royal Rumble. I think they can do it. I think they can announce people in advance, but I would like to at least see a couple of people as surprise entrants and don't announce them in advance so we can speculate and talk about it. You know, that's one of the fun things about the Royal Rumble is guessing who's going to be in it. So you got to have at least 5 people not in the Royal Rumble. And there's a comment here, send Hook. Hey, how about that? Put Hook in the Royal Rumble. That would be interesting. But I feel like if, and this is a very big if WWE and AEW ever worked something out, I feel like it would be a Chris Jericho person, somebody that was previously in WWE. But it would be cool if they put in an AEW original in the Rumble. It'd probably be somebody that would be eliminated fairly quickly. You know, Tony Khan would probably put in somebody that he knows is going to be okay going in there and getting tossed out in 2 minutes or whatever. Jeff Meacham Network sent in $5. Thank you, Jeff. He says, one wonders how far the forbidden door will continue to open. Always a joy to see Mickey, and this seems major for Impact and the NWA. Well, it's great. I mean, Mickie James was part of WWE for several years, so it's not like Kenny Omega showing up on a WWE show, but it's a pretty big deal. This is, like I said, the beginning of maybe something more. We'll see. And Dr. NXT Scorpio sent in a $5 super chat, says, Impact went from being on Twitch to kind of working with the top 2 wrestling companies in the States. What a good year on them. They've managed to stay in business. People were saying Impact was going to die, and as their pay-per-view title indicates, they are hard to kill. They have managed to stay in business longer than pretty much anybody expected. People were predicting the death of TNA pretty much right when they started in 2002. Oofman Entertainment with a $5 super chat says, guess all is forgiven about the trash bag incident. Business is business. I think that anything is possible, and hey, it's a pretty cool moment for an Impact star to be on a WWE pay-per-view. Somebody who is actively signed to Impact appearing on a WWE pay-per-view. That's huge. Mickie James is making history, so I'm sure that she's ecstatic about this, being able to potentially open the door even wider for more of these types of appearances from other people. So anyways, we've talked enough about that. That was a very big story coming out of SmackDown here. We had Naomi interrupt Charlotte Flair. Charlotte had announced that she is going to be in the Royal Rumble, even though she's the SmackDown Women's Champion. She's going to be in the Rumble. That's what happens when you run out of people and you release so many of them. You got to bring back the legends. You got to bring back people from Impact to have 30 people in the Women's Royal Rumble. Maybe that's the real reason why WWE agreed to it, just because they needed the people. They really don't. They could always bring in people from NXT. But yeah, Naomi came out, challenged Charlotte Flair to a match. Charlotte was like, what have you done lately? Naomi responded by slapping Charlotte. And we had a match after the commercial break, a contenders match. Oofman Entertainment sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that, Oofman. Says, premium live event. Oh, shit. I just realized I screwed up. I called it a pay-per-view. Shame on me. It is a premium live event streaming on Peacock at the end of the month. The Royal Rumble premium live event. So we had this contenders match, and Naomi and Charlotte were on the outside of the ring. Naomi came off the barricade with this blockbuster. She got back in the ring. Charlotte was on the verge of getting counted out. And then you had Sonya Deville show up, and she said that this match was actually, you guessed it, no count out. Match continued, and Charlotte put the figure 4 on Naomi, but Naomi was able to grab the rope. And at this point, Sonya said that the match was actually no DQ because she knows you always say yes to no DQ. They hit each other with a double boot. Both of them were down. They got up. They traded some near falls. And then Charlotte finally got the win with the natural selection. And Sonya Deville announced Naomi as the loser of the match. It's like I like the storyline, but at the same time, it's dragging out forever. They've been doing this gimmick for months now. You just got to get to the point. Let's get this match going already. Sonya versus Naomi. I mean, they've been dragging this out for so long. It's like I think they're doing it for WrestleMania, but it's gone on for too long. I did like it, but it's been an angle that's been overdone. They've told this story several times now, and I'm just wanting to see the match already. Let's get it done. Stop delaying and just repeating the same storyline over and over again. Backstage, Adam Pearce approached Roman Reigns, and because Roman Reigns basically turned down Brock Lesnar, you had Pearce saying that he was going to choose Roman Reigns' opponent for the Royal Rumble. And this was going to be the big hook for the end of the show. Pearce would have a decision made by the end. We then had Happy Talk with Happy Corbin. Yay. By the way, Steve-O says Braun Breaker a surprise entrant. Maybe. I could see that as a possibility. What about Tommaso Ciampa or Pete Dunne? They competed in a dark match before SmackDown, which is very interesting because there were several people in 2021 that did dark matches from NXT on the main roster, and they ended up on the main roster. People like Shotzi, and some people that got released like Karrion Kross. But yeah, to me, that's a sign that Ciampa and Dunne are being considered for the main roster. And there's been all this talk about Ciampa that he doesn't have interest in doing the main roster. I think his issue was that he did not want to wrestle a full-time schedule. Maybe they'll give him a lighter schedule where he can just do the TV shows and an occasional house show. He did the dark match here. He competed at Madison Square Garden. He was part of the UK tour doing matches with Braun Breaker. So, I mean, he's doing some stuff with the main roster, and he's no longer the NXT champion. NXT 2.0 is in full swing now. I think it's time. If Ciampa's going to stay with WWE, I think he needs to be on the main roster. I've been saying this for a while now. But anyways, back to SmackDown. Dr. NXT Scorpio sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. He says, if a current champion won the Rumble, what would happen then? Well, I guess Charlotte could challenge Becky Lynch without her title being on the line. I guess that's how it would go. Or the champion can pick their opponent for WrestleMania. I suppose that's something that they could do, where they get to name their match for WrestleMania and choose their person that they're going to face. I don't know. But I suppose they'll come up with something, or maybe they won't even bother. Who knows? We had Happy Corbin. I just did not want to talk about Happy Corbin. That's why I was talking about other stuff. He brought up COVID-19, how you have to watch your back, and Drew McIntyre should have watched his back at day one. Footage was shown of Corbin and Madcap Moss taking out McIntyre, who is reportedly dealing with a legitimate neck issue, and he might need surgery. Who knows? They got to run some further tests and have him be evaluated even further. But yeah, he is on the shelf for the time being. And then we had Moss show up, dressed up like Drew McIntyre with a little tiny floppy sword, which Pat McAfee referred to as a flaccid sword. McAfee was on fire tonight. All of his lines were pretty funny, like the Roman Reigns line about COVID, the flaccid sword, and yeah, McIntyre was killing it tonight. Fortunately, that was the best thing about this segment. You had Madcap Moss talking in a Scottish accent. That was pretty dumb, the usual nonsense from these guys, which I guess is supposed to generate heel heat, although I think of it as go away heat. And any person with a brain that was watching this, tuning in, just watching TV casually, and they see this, any reasonable person, I think, would change the channel. But us wrestling fans were a little nuts, and we put up with this crap. Viking Raiders arrived, and we had a tag team match. Holla, holla, holla. Tag team match between Corbin, Moss, and the Viking Raiders. Pretty standard match, and it ended when Corbin drove Ivar into the ring post and back in the ring. Madcap Moss pinned Eric with his finisher, which they call the punchline. Poor Viking Raiders, they're losing to Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss. And Madcap Moss got his first win ever? Like, when's the last time Madcap Moss won a match? Not looking good for the Viking Raiders. So much for maybe building them up for the tag team championships. Oh, well. We had Sheamus in a backstage segment saying that he would be entering the Royal Rumble, and he talked a little bit about Ridge Holland getting his nose busted up during the day one kickoff. And I agree with Steve-O. Pat McAfee always helps SmackDown. The guy is great. 2001 No DQ Announcer of the Year, and rightfully so. We then had our main event, but before that, Roman Reigns was backstage. Adam Pearce met up with him, and Reigns told him to go away. He wanted to watch his cousin's match, but Pearce said he would have an opponent named by the end of the show. We had our match, a street fight, the Usos defending their titles against the New Day. And it started off in the ring, but then they brawled to the outside. They were fighting on the stage. They fought over by the announce desk. And then Xavier Woods pulled out a knight's helmet from under the ring, and he wore it, used it for protection when the Usos tried to super kick him. Kofi had some body armor. He used the body armor as a weapon. Crowd chanted, "We want tables." And of course, Xavier Woods, being the babyface that he is, serving his people, the king pulled out the table. Kofi Kingston hit the tip, the Trouble in Paradise, to Jey Uso, but Jimmy broke up the pin. And then the Usos hit a double super kick to Kofi Kingston. And then they grabbed the table. And it always happens. If you pull out the table, usually it backfires on you. And in this case, Xavier brought out the table, and it was Kofi Kingston that went through the table, courtesy of the 1D, which is the 3D, now passed over to the Usos. They're using the 3D. The Dudleys gave their blessing, and the Usos retain the tag team titles. Now, does this mean we will get another match with these guys at the Royal Rumble? I mean, how many more times are we going to see this match? I feel like there's going to be another one, even though you would think that this would be the end. But now, who do the Usos face? Viking Raiders? They just lost to Madcap Moss. Who else do you got? You really don't have anybody. So Yeah. I'm not sure what you do now with the Usos, who you put them against. Corbin and Madcap Moss doesn't really work, but who else you got? Mo Camera says, I love the what chants when Roman Reigns talks, laughing my ass off. Well, normally that's a sign that the crowd is not liking it, but I think they were just doing that to antagonize him. Or maybe it was just a smart crowd that wanted to hijack the segment. Maybe it was 10,000 Mo cameras in the crowd. Very well could have been the case. And for the final moment of the show, we had Roman Reigns in his locker room. There was a knock on the door. Roman Reigns, I guess thinking it was Adam Pearce, said, come on in. And it turned out to be Seth freaking Rollins. And I guess that's his legal name in WWE now, Seth freaking Rollins. That's kind of dumb, but whatever. And Rollins just started laughing like a madman, and the show went off the air. So yes, it is official. At the Royal Rumble, it will be Roman Reigns defending the Universal Championship, I should say, against Seth freaking Rollins. And apparently at some point during this stream, I said 2001 or 2021. If I make a mistake with the date, it happens every year. And I'm only human. I screwed up on no DQ too. I wrote December instead of January on one of the posts. So my apologies for that. It happens every year. It takes me like 4 or 5 months before I'm fully in the new year and with the current month or whatever. So that was an interesting show. Absolutely a memorable SmackDown. The Game is on 100 says, WWE announced in a Chicago market a 4-way for the WWE title at a Raw in March with Lashley, Rollins, Owens, and Big E. Possible spoiler for the Rumble, Lashley wins. Those house show matches, or not house show, but dark match, I'm guessing it's a dark match. Those matches really don't give away anything. They're just placeholder matches. They're subject to change. It really doesn't mean anything. Does not indicate who's going to be the champion by that point. So just keep that in mind. So as far as the show goes, I would definitely say it was a recommend. It wasn't like an all-time great SmackDown or anything, but it was a very memorable show. And I would say that there were several segments worth checking out. The Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar segment. The main event was really good, even though it's the same match we've seen many times. And the Charlotte segment with the Royal Rumble announcements was fun. It was an entertaining show overall. So I would give it a recommendation, but not something that's a must watch. Good show overall. And I am looking forward to the Royal Rumble. The show accomplished what it needed to accomplish as far as me being more excited for the Royal Rumble now than I was before the show started. And ultimately, that's the goal. They got me intrigued. I'm intrigued about Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins. I was not expecting that. I was actually thinking that it was going to be Goldberg announced for the Royal Rumble with Roman Reigns. What are they doing? What direction are they going? There's this talk that Seth Rollins was supposed to win the match at day one and become WWE champion. Now he's facing Roman Reigns for the Universal title. Really interested to see where this goes now. And of course, it's the former Shield members going at it. Although I wish Rollins was a babyface. It's going to be a little weird heel versus heel unless Rollins kind of goes in a babyface direction between now and the pay-per-view. I suppose we'll see what happens. Anyways, guys, thank you all for tuning in. And by the way, yes, the Royal Rumble will be on Peacock. It is a premium live event over on Peacock. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I will be back after Battle of the Belts. That is Saturday night. I will be recapping Battle of the Belts. We'll have one more live stream to wrap up what has been a crazy week, starting with day one and everything that's happened this week. Make sure you guys stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest wrestling news and rumors. And like I said, say yes to No DQ. Take care, everybody. Enjoy your weekend, and I will see you all next time.